Why Modern Physics is So Weird and So Wrong by Francis T.S. A few preliminary remarks. Science is meant to discover, but not to create the laws of nature. Science is a way of describing physical reality. As a result, it should correspond to physical reality and should not be deterministic. Given the proper evidence and logic, scientific laws, principles, and theories can always be revised, changed, and even refuted. Everything within our universe has a necessary price to pay in the form of time, delta T, and an amount of energy, delta E. Nothing exists in timeless space, and nothing exists without an expenditure of energy. Nothing, in other words, comes for free. Within this paradigm of quantum physics, things change at the speed of light. The problem with quantum physics is that it assumes we can change time. Modern physics versus physical reality. Einstein's theory tells us we can change time, yet we can't. Schrodinger's principle tells us one thing can exist in two places at the same time, yet they can't. Heisenberg's uncertainty is independent of time, yet everything is time dependent. Bohr's quantum leap is not time limited, yet everything is time limited. Pauli's entanglement is not space limited, yet everything is space limited. Dirac posits that antiparticles exist within our universe, yet antiparticles are independent of time and therefore cannot exist. Feynman's QED and Hawking tell us that black holes exist within our universe. Yet this is a form of science fiction conjured up by abstract mathematics. Why is modern physics so wrong? Practically all of the recent theories, principles, and laws in modern physics have been derived from a 4D space-time continuum of Einstein. Modern physics posits a zero-summed subspace that allows antimatter to exist. Time is treated as an independent variable, even though doing so violates the second law of thermodynamics. This paradigm does not reflect physical reality. Mathematics is not science. Without mathematics, science would be extremely limited. This is because science often uses mathematics, and mathematics can help scientists make new discoveries. Yet mathematics is not equal to science. It is simply a tool frequently used by scientists. Unfortunately, many people, including scientists and mathematicians themselves, have conflated the two fields, acting as if everything mathematical has a physical, real-world representation. As a result, science has for decades been hijacked by mathematics. Mathematics, no matter how rigorous, does not correspond to physical reality. Only mathematics that is developed from a physically realizable platform can correspond to physical reality. What is a physically realizable platform? It is the temporal t greater than 0 subspace that we are living in, where every subspace changes with time. This means that even the most elementary particles in the universe can exist in temporal subspace. Since our universe is a time-dependent subspace where time is a forward variable running at a constant pace, it is impossible to change or stop time. And this is precisely one of the fundamental laws of nature. Everything changes with time. An example. Take the mass-energy equivalent equation, E equals 1/2 mc squared. If written as a zero-summed equation, it becomes one of the two following. E minus 1/2 mc squared equals 0, or 0 equals 1/2 mc squared minus e. Mathematically speaking, these equations are the same. They demonstrate in the purely mathematical that negative energy and antimass can exist. In temporal subspace, however, this is not true. Neither negative energy nor antimass can exist. Take the Dirac equation as seen below, which hypothesizes that antimatter and negative energy can exist. Yet, if the Dirac equation is written as the following non-zero-summed form, as seen below, he might not have had postulated the existence of antimatter and negative energy. Once again, mathematics is not equivalent to science. A physically realizable t greater than 0 universe paradigm. A physically realizable temporal universe is a non-zero-summed energy conservation subspace. Physical reality only exists in the present t equals 0 moment. Past time, t less than 0, domain represents certain memories which have no physical manifestation other than synapses in our brain. The future, t greater than 0, represents a physically realizable universe that is uncertain. Thus, science can be thought of as a means of approximating rather than determining the future. A classic example. A classic textbook example to derive Einstein's special theory. In the figure below, the clock within the moving set of reflected mirrors is ticking more slowly than the stationary clock. In contrast, within a temporal t greater than 0 subspace, the clock within the moving platform does not slow down. In our universe, God actually does play dice, and Schrodinger's cat cannot exist in two places at one time. What does the previous slide indicate? When Einstein said God does not play dice, I believe he meant science should be able to make predictions with absolute certainty. In reality, however, science is merely a form of approximating physical reality. On the other hand, Schrodinger's cat indicates that predictions are never absolutely certain. Yet in reality, scientific predictions should not be totally ambiguous. Temporal, t greater than 0 space tells us that every prediction changes with time. In other words, the further away we travel from current absolute certainty, the more uncertain our prediction. Science, once again, is a means of approximating physical reality. Finally, within our universe, we cannot get something from nothing. There is always a price to pay. This means that every physical phenomenon costs a section of time, delta t, and an amount of energy, delta E. $30 billion has so far been committed to the Global Quantum Computing Initiative. And this is just one of many global research initiatives in 2022, including the search for exotic particles, wormholes, and black holes. Why are we committing so much money to the realm of science fiction rather than science? Please check out my newly published book. Thank you.